It's been really a season of change at Forest, but it all started at the end of the 2024-25 campaign when Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis stormed the field to express frustration with coach Nuno Espírito Santo. Mind you, the spectacle was after a game where Forest had clinched a spot in European play for the first time in 29 years. Nuno signed a new contract over the summer, but tensions returned early in the new campaign when the Portuguese manager said that he was not close with the owner any longer. He was then fired in September after just 3 matches. So in came Ange Postecoglou in a disastrous 39-day stint that never saw Forest pick up a win over 8 matches. Ange's stint was the second shortest in Premier League history. Sean Dyche then replaced Ange, and while results came early, Forest struggled as of late, winning just 3 of their last 13 matches, including a 0-0 draw against bottom-of-the-table Wolves on Wednesday. And now the club sits 17th with just 3 points above the relegation zone. Following the draw with Wolves, Sean Dyche seemed to know his fate.
And it's been fair to me, without a shadow of a doubt, fair on the situation. If anyone chooses to change in football now, that's their decision. You know, if people want change, we've all seen it, you know. People can demand change, and then it's up to owners whether they change or not. You know, I just work very hard. I care about this club. I've made that clear, side of my staff. I'm working very hard. I'm not saying the players are not, by the way, but we certainly are as a staff. That's what you do. You know, we work very hard. If the owner wants to make a change, then that's up to him, and that's the way football is now.
Troy, are you surprised by this? Do you think that the sacking was deserved?
Not surprised by it in terms of this is the 3rd manager this season now that's been changed at Nottingham Forest. Disappointed for Sean Dyche, obviously a former manager of mine, but also a friend. So wanted him to do well. Cares deeply about it, as do his staff, Ian Wone and Steve Stone. They're obviously ex-legends there as well. So they will be feeling it this morning. But I think Dyche hit the nail on the head. Managers now are becoming a removable object, a lot more quicker than anybody else now, it seems, within football. If the owner wants to make a change, they will. When we see that they're linked now with Pereira, the ex-Wolves manager, to me, that's crazy. You know, you're going to now sign somebody who was at a team this season that is considered the worst team in the league. You're going to
and perhaps in the league's history.
Perhaps in the league's history, you're right, yes. Replace Sean Dyche, because it's not going well, and I understand that because the trajectory of where the other teams are now, West Ham are picking up points, Leeds are picking up points. You're now been in this position, it's like, hold on, Spurs just made a change. Yeah. They're going to start. Do we need to do something to change the momentum? So I totally understand it, but when you're now being linked with a man who was, at the point of, he was an architect of the team that is Wolverhampton Wanderers. He had a say in that over the transfer window. They are bottom and the worst team this season that he was part of, and now you're going to bring him in to change your fortunes. That seems a little bit wild to me.
Yeah, we've arrived at this point all because of Nottingham Forest's fault, by the way.
100%.
If there's any fingers to blame, you need to point it at yourself, right?
Yep.
Be very introspective. It's the ego trip that has let Nottingham Forest bumble and stumble into this dumpster fire and continue to fire manager after manager from the very beginning. They were in a really good place with Nuno. And because of disputes either with the board, the sporting direction, and ultimately Mr. Marinakis, it's worrying, right? It's almost like there's this non-human element to the game that is so raw and emotional, and about managing a group through very turbulent waters, because the waters that they're dark, they're turbulent, and it's stormy right now. It's just like, oh, new guy, have this new guy come in. Oh, we don't like him, new guy come in.
That was really interesting with that, though. But with Marinakis, it's totally human. It's emotion-led. For somebody that's so smart, very business-rounded, and clearly has done a wonderful job with Nottingham Forest, emotionally, if he feels slighted or he's not getting what he wants, he then just, he just goes, that's not happening, change, get it done. Yeah. I actually was at the game when they played Man United, and he sacked Ange Postecoglou. I was actually at the game. By the time I left, Ange Postecoglou was driving past me. It was that quick. It was that quick. He was like, I don't, from what I understand, he didn't even get into the changing room. So if he makes a decision, it's like, get it done, figure it out, and we'll move very quickly. So, yeah, I've from personal experience, I've been at a team in the Premier League that's had 4 managers. Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Most ever, by the way.
Yeah, it's tough to be in a situation where you can try and get everybody on side. Again, in the year we had 4 in the Premier, we ended up getting relegated on the last day. And yes, we had an upturn with our final manager, but the damage of the other 3 managers, you can't undo that in the back end of the season. So Forest have got talented players, but they need to figure it out very, very quickly.
You know that saying, when you point the finger at someone, you got 3 pointing right back at yourself? Mm-hmm. Marinakis has to look in the mirror. Edu has to look in the mirror. If you keep sacking managers and the result is still the same, at what point do you say, maybe our process is not there? Maybe the players we're signing are not up to the standard of staying in the Premier League? There's been a lot of money spent at Nottingham Forest over the past couple years, and they're still in this position. So who are we looking at? Who are we looking at if managers keep cycling in and out? You got to look up, don't you?
I find that strange as well. You know, we talk about the signings. Look at these signings. The names that they've brought in are fantastic. Amari Hutchinson, Bakwa is a very talented player. Igor Jesus has been fantastic for them, but estimated total spend there is 288 million, which is not pennies by any stretch. But for me, there's obviously people like Zinchenko that we've left off there as well. So a lot more signings. But for me, they've signed names and not people that fit the culture that was there last season. This Forest team last year was defensively solid, sat in on the counter-attack and killed you with pace, with Hudson-Odoi on the left, Elanga on the right. Just go with real pace, and they're going to be direct. And when they got there, they had Chris Wood. They've tried to move on from Chris Wood. Normally that's an age thing. But it's just now a situation where these players they're footballers, and they're kind of like, we have a saying, champagne. They're the champagne guys, but they've got too many champagnes now, and they're in a bar. Like, you need some, you know what I mean? You need some Cokes, you need some beers, you need some stout, and then you have champagne. At the moment, it's a bar that's just got champagne all the way through. So for me, they've lost their identity in this window.
And then they lost. Talking about clubs losing their identity. This is the last 3 days.
But they've lost their identity from one moment to the next, and then they just are constantly changing to. So how incoherent was it when you gave Nuno a $250 million transfer window to play the way that he wanted to play? They had a structure. They got into Europe, and then you fired him for Ange Postecoglou, who is it's square peg round hole to
polar
the T,
opposites, isn't it?
Right? And then you go back to Sean Dyche, and you keep on dipping into the transfer window, and then you fire him. It's like the constant turnover. It just shows to me that there is no culture really that they're trying to impose, or
there's no sporting plan. It's just, we're going to do this time. We're going to do this time. We're going to do this.
Do you know what it is? I think there is a plan, but people miss out the process. So they go, let's just use Forest, for example. Last season, defensively solid. This is how we're going to be. We're going to counter-attack. We've had enough of that. I want to see more goals. Let's go to that. But there's a process between there where you have to start.
Evolve.
We evolve, but we add one or two. We don't go 9, because then you're bringing in so many new players. First off, when you move, you've got to get to the kids in school, find a house. Is this the different country for a lot of people? Weather restrictions, all of these different things come into play. That's just with one player. If you have that with 9, 10, 11, how are you supposed to do that while get the football right, and by the way, adjusting to how this league actually plays? For most people looking at the Premier League, they talk about how fast it is. I promise you, you have never seen anything like it until you actually play. I've played with so many players in my 17-year career that came from different countries, and all you have to, it's more, we're technical. I agree, you are technical. What are you going to do when someone runs over you, when someone kicks you, and the technical part of it goes, and it takes them 4, 5, 6 months to adjust, and I just think Forest have missed that process phase. They've tried to change too drastically, and they're not the only club, by the way. A lot of teams are doing that now.
When I mentioned that it's non-human is that to me it seems like almost like they're playing Football Manager, that they can just pick and choose here and put this team together because on paper it looks great. By the way, you look at those names and to me also the spend is almost too much for that type of player. Like none of them are superstars. They're all names, but they're not superstars. And when you're spending $288 million, it feels like
you have to get more quality.
At least, but like.
A bit more tried and tested.
Top quality, right? Like not names that have been in the Premier League, not names that are recognizable. Somebody that's going to win you games every single weekend. But yes, I agree. It feels like that's the almost the part where I feel like they miss the mark of kind of not understanding that there is a process, there is an evolution, there is certain steps that you need to hit to get to where you want to get, and it's just like scrap. And let's start it again with a different direction from nothing.
It's not even Football Manager, it's EAFC, because Football Manager, they factor in the fact that players need a little bit of time to adjust to a new play. It's just straight up, let's plug them and play. This is the position they play on the game. This is what they'll play. This is exactly how they'll play. They're a 94 rated player, they're going to play 94 rated. It's video game-esque the way that they're moving pieces around when we are dealing with real humans.
Absolutely. One thing that graphic didn't show you, £225 million spent on attacking players in the summer, 4 league goals between them.
Wow.
Not a very good return.
So, you know, like you can do all this. Like again, I don't really like putting the transfer fee on the player because it's not fair, right? They didn't pick that. But you do have to deliver. You do have to bring more. And when you're talking of a net spend of 225, and then you've got 4 goals to show for that, that just sums up where they're at. I think they're in a bit of a crisis. I also think one element that people don't talk to is the players get an ego as well. They had a great season last season. They're now in Europe. Some of them are now playing internationally.
Yeah, you might get relegated, bro.
Now all of a sudden it's like, you know, shoulders are back. I call it peacocking. You know, you start getting all your feathers out and letting everybody know that I'm the man. And now the reality is, you actually could be relegated this year. So if we go from Europe to relegation in 12 months, I think the players have to look at themselves as well. That's nasty.
Spurs has 13 fit first-team players.
Is this Ange or Thomas Frank?
I'm just saying. Tottenham Hotspur, 13 fit senior players.
Quick trivia question. Marinakis, how many coaches has he fired since 2011?
Ooh. 5.
18.
15.
18.
Oh, in total from all of his clubs?
Yeah, since Olympiacos
18.
as well.
Oh, I'm going to go higher. 24.
18.
24. Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
24.
That's a random number as well.
Yeah, and you probably thought
I clearly knew that, obviously.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.